Don't you hate when they won't let old things die? They keep on bringing back stuff that they thought was good one day, but they just won't let them die. So, welcome back to Locked On iRacing podcast. I am Peter Wilkinson, and you may call me Wilco if you want, or you can just call me Peter. I am easy. I am back. Yes, I am racing again. I am streaming again. If you're watching the video form of this podcast, I look about 45 years older, and I definitely need a haircut and a shave, and I need more time in my life. But I am racing again, so I thought I'd come back and record a podcast. Had a really good race last night. Had some really good races the last sort of week and a half, 2 weeks since I went back. Had some terrible races when I first came back. It was 5 months since sitting in the rig pretty much. And now with a couple races a week, trying to get back in the rhythm again. I have quit my second job, so I am now working just one job, and that's my business. And I did a 12-hour day today, off 4 hours sleep after vets last night. So I'm struggling at the moment, but this is the one spare half hour I've got, so I'm going to record. I'm going to push it out, and you're going to enjoy, hopefully. But just a quick aside, where I've been and what's happening at the moment. Like I said, I've been working two jobs for the last 5 months. The rig behind me there, if you're watching the video version, which would be great if you could, because we're trying to get our YouTube hours up at the moment. I didn't sit in it for 5 months because I just didn't get time to do anything bar sleeping and working. I was working Coles at night, doing night fill there, doing about 4 to 5 shifts a week, which was good, but it was exhausting. Then doing my day job for about 4 hours a day to try and fit that in to make a bit of extra cash on the side to help things out, not fire people at work because we were overstaffed, and unfortunately we got to the point where we just had to make the call and let some people go, and I had to come back to working full time because it was a bit more money I could make for the company, and it just made more sense, and I get my life back sort of things. So we're in the starting phase of that. I've been doing it for 2 weeks now. I've been delivering parcels again for 2 weeks. And getting back in the rhythm has been interesting. It's the worst possible time. We've just we've got one person on holidays. We've had one person leave since we got rid of the other two, so we've had to bring one of them back. And we've also had sick. We've had all these kinds of different issues. We've just gone through probably the worst period for a long time, and for some reason, everything's busy at the moment. So it's all colliding into chaos. But we've got one more week of that chaos, and we think we're back on top of it after that. So we're looking pretty good after that. But enough about my work. We're heading back into. I'm doing stuff again for Locked On Lads. We're getting close to that 10 years since we first released our very first podcast with the word Locked On in it. Now, Locked On Lads was created a little bit after that, but we were out of Ultra Super Mega at the time, a gaming website brand that I was working with, making lots of different podcasts back in the time, but one of them was Locked On, Tom Clancy podcast. From that, when Ultra Super Mega started to slow down, and things were probably not going to continue for a long way in the future, we then off-spun Locked On Lads from that. It was then a few years later after that I started doing racing and created Locked On iRacing. Sorry, not Locked. I created Locked On Racing, Locked On Lads Racing, and then from there it was just a one-man team, and then we did a Bathurst 12-hour, pulled together a whole heap of guys out of Aussie Car, and that formed Locked On Racing as a proper entity with multiple drivers. And I think we're about 4, 5, 6 years into that now. I've lost track of time. So, that's a bit of a quick history of Locked On Lads. But I'm bringing it back because I want to be creative. This is what I want to do, and I want to race. So I may as well create some content around that. People do seem to enjoy it, and I've got more stuff to say on the mental health side of things than I've really had to say in the past. So I feel like I've turned a corner personally, and I'm getting to feel like I'm actually more in control of things right now. So whether that comes with age or it comes with cleaning things up in my life as far as work goes and financial things, the pressures coming off with interest rates, but and we're sort of tentatively looking at things like selling the house and getting a smaller house for a smaller mortgage, which would free up my life no end. When you look at that number I've got to make each month for mortgage repayments, it's a bit of a nightmare. But anyway, that's where we're at. I was Locked On Lads. So if you're watching the Facebook feed, I've done it twice. I need to do a third one today. I'm doing pictures because I back in my past when I was growing up, I loved photography. So I'm trying to very, very early days of taking stills of the races that I'm doing. They're not very good at the moment, but hopefully it's a learning process and you can come along with the journey with me. But we're branding it with the Mental Health Matters badge that we've, in the last 2 years, we've really focused, or probably the last 12 to 18 months, we've focused on our cars. We're branding these photos with that, and I'm putting an inspirational quote on the photo. I'm trying to put out one of them every day. So keep motivational stuff and the inspirational stuff at the forefront on the Facebook page. Trying to get clips from races and streams over on the Facebook page, the Instagram and the TikTok. So we're going to be many places, but I'm killing the streaming on Facebook because it's just too complicated to try and get chats in the one place when Facebook's involved. Facebook, especially Facebook business side, it just does not play nice with live stream and chat. So we weren't getting a huge amount of numbers on there. So for the little amount of numbers we were getting on there, it just made no sense. Concentrating now on Twitch and YouTube is a big jump because Twitch, I've actually looked the other day, in the 6 years of streaming, I've actually made $600 American out of it. So I've been successful in the past when I've pushed on it. We're within $4 of getting a payout. At the moment on Twitch, which is the $50 minimum, I want to start pushing back as that's one of the avenues. The other avenue then will be YouTube. Once Twitch allows everyone to have the vertical and the horizontal, you'll get both feeds over there on Twitch. Already you're getting both feeds on YouTube. YouTube, we're focusing on the monetization of that. We need to get hours watched. We've already got the first subscription level. We just need to get to the 1,000 subscribers for the second, which is the ads, which is really what we want to get to. So I'm going to start breaking the streams down, the races out of the streams down as actual videos, because YouTube doesn't like promoting past streams as much as they like promoting videos. So if I start just grabbing those and doing videos, that would be great. When I get a bit more time in my life, I'll do actual races that aren't streamed. I prefer racing and streaming and creating content when it's just me. I was talking about this the other night on stream. When I've got other people in Discord racing the same races or at the same time, I get paranoid that I'm annoying them and I'm putting them off. Try to stay quiet so it's not as good content. So when I'm actually just by myself, it's better content for you guys. So anyway, but what I really need is anyone who can subscribe to YouTube, Locked On Lads over there, follow us on Twitch, watch hours of content, or just have the stream on in the background. We do, because the stream hours count for both the vertical and the horizontal. It's really handy at the moment. So anyway, let's get back to what we're here about. So I'm doing 2 leagues at the moment, and I've done 2 races in both, I believe. Plus I've done a couple of officials when I've had a little bit of spare time. So I want to get back into the officials once I get back from the Bathurst 1000. So if you're going there, hit me up on one of the socials or through Discord or anything like that, and let's catch up and let's have some fun. But I will be there Wednesday through to Monday morning, so let me know if you are going. That's going to be awesome to catch up with some people. But I'm doing Aussie Car for their last broadcasted season. Their sim speed's cutting back a little bit, so they're not broadcasting, or Ira's not going to be broadcasting Aussie Car anymore going forward. So they're doing one last broadcasted season with the Skip Barber, which is where I began league racing back in the day, and where Locked On Lads came out of. So I'm doing that as much as I can. It's a 6-race season, and it is going every fortnight, and we've done 2 races. I can't for the life of me remember where they both were, but the one we just did was at a place called the Sashin something Ring. It's one of the new ones. I had to buy it just before we raced, so that was interesting. Very, very fun track. Flowed really well with the Skippy. The Skippy's a dream to drive, though. Really fun car to drive, so enjoyed back in them. Didn't feel competitive because it's an absolutely stacked field. Like, we're talking some of the best drivers, or the best drivers in the world racing. And that was Alton Park was the first one. That's right. It was a 27, 28 strong field. We had a 22 strong field, or 19 strong field, I think, last week. And I had a silly mistake in the first race of 3. There was a sprint series, 3 races. Spun Vernie, or he spun in. He felt bad for me, so he spun behind me, and we both sat to the back of the field and sort of worked our way back to, I think, 15th or something like that out of 19. So that was fun. Went into race 2, raced around with Jeremy this time from Locked On, and we battled right at the end, swapping places for the last 3 or 4 corners, I think it was. We went back and forth, and I finally got him, which is a rare occasion for me. I very rarely beat Jeremy. He's a very, very fast driver. So, but the top 12, 13 cars were just lightning quick. They were some of the best, as I said, best speed drivers in the world. So really good to be racing amongst them, but just not competitive at their level. And then the third race, Jeremy spun this time. I had a bit of a slow patch in the middle, and then started breaking away and sort of just, I think, 12th or 13th, somewhere like that. Could see the fast guys for most of the race, and then sort of just, they just got a little bit out of distance, but it wasn't too bad. So good fun there. Alton Park, I got spun in the first one. I accidentally ran over Peter Bowling, or he spun and it just tripped over each other. The second one, it was wet, so it was a really tough race, and but finally found a bit of confidence at the end, and I finished okay, but nothing really to write home about. But so I came back to officials. I was going to be doing the Vets support series on a Wednesday night, and so I was getting the GT3 practice in. Went around to Okayama in a few of the GT3 races and couldn't get anywhere, kept on spinning, just didn't feel confident at all, wasn't doing anything that looked like actual good racing. But, I'd just jumped back in the rig, so really wasn't confident, which is where a lot of the mental health stuff that I want to talk about at the end of the podcast was heading, and I just didn't feel right in the rig, to be honest. I just felt like I did not belong in the rig, to be honest. That's where it was. That's how I was feeling. I just felt like, what's the point of doing this? I'm just not up to speed. I'm causing more problems. I'm getting lapped in officials, and just didn't feel right. Just felt awkward, to be honest. And did a bit of that. People still, watching the streams and that kind of stuff, but not getting any good results. Losing iRating, lost my A-class license for the first time in a very long time in the sports car. So I did an open wheeler race and got absolutely killed, and then killed a couple of people in a Formula V race. So that really dented the confidence, and didn't really know what I was doing or where I belonged. And just things got busy again. So we ran into Vets, and I didn't do much practice. I've been really trying to. So the focus is Vets. Split 4 for Vets. That's my focus right now. And Phillip Island was the first one. I did the official, and once again sat in with the Bar Boys, and never really get confident in the car. Sort of in the race, I finished okay, but the vet strength of field races, not the vets, the supercar strength of field races are stacked as well. So you run into people and they're just quick. in a supercar, and I'm not that. So that was a bit of a eye opener. That I've got a long way to go, but felt okay in the car, but just um, didn't have the pace. And I think I made one mistake, or I couldn't. It was weird, but didn't end up. Oh, I got stuck behind some cars and just couldn't get away from them. And then I pitted early, undercut them, and just left them for dead. So, but by then, the rest of the field's gone away, and not making mistakes with the quality of that field. And then work got really busy actually, and I had about a week out of the rig, and it came to the point where vets was only the season started was only like 2 or 3 days away, and I hadn't sat in the rig since that race, and lost all the time for preparation that I thought I was going to have, and I jumped into a bit more practice, and I don't know what it was, but something clicked, and I think that's where the mental health part of it came in. I actually, like I was saying before, the couple of weeks before that, I just didn't feel comfortable in the rig. But all of a sudden, on this night, I think Roy said a few words to me about the pedals, sorry, the going the 5 and 6. I'd never seen that option for some reason, but changing it to 5, um, which changes I guess the amount of the way the revs work, and the way the power comes from putting the throttle down. It's sort of, it doesn't put it down. It changes the curve anyway. So 6 is a bit more aggressive, and 5 is a little bit less aggressive. And changing that sort of, I'm very lead-footed with the supercar. Something I've got to get better is the throttle management. That's my big thing, and this seemed to change that completely for me. So doing that, understanding for some reason, I don't know why it's taken me so long, but the brake bias really didn't sink in. All of a sudden that night it sunk in for some reason. I don't know why. Everything just sort of clicked, and I was doing laps around Phillip Island that were respectable times, and I thought, here we go. This is feeling confident. All of a sudden, so I jumped into an official, and there was a GT3 around Okayama, and went, why not? Let's just finish here. And jumped in, was car number 1 in whatever split it was. And remember, I'd lost all this I rating going to this race, so I was probably lower than I should be as well. But put in a qualifying lap and wasn't there. It was okay. It was probably going to be like top 4, top 5, but it was a second off, I guess. I think so. But then all of a sudden, I started thinking about the trail braking a bit more. For some reason, that clicked. And the second lap, the optimal was showing me almost 2 seconds a lap quicker than my previous lap. And, I was actually, well, it wasn't even a second. It was pretty close to pole position anyway at that stage, and ended up putting 2 seconds on the field in that. And then someone got within a second of me, but all of a sudden I've got pole position on car number 1. Pressure's building, starting a GT3 race. Not ever done that before from the front, but got all nervous. Put it out in front though, and sort of lapped and had a bit of a to and fro with the guy in second for probably the first, it was a 20-minute race. So the first 6, 7 minutes we went back and forth, and there was a point where he was about 0.4 behind, and it looked like I was going to battle for him, and he was going to probably get past me, or he was going to really put some pressure on. And then all of a sudden I just concentrated and put some laps together that were just the quickest. It was the fastest laps of the race, and all of a sudden I broke out 2 seconds on this guy in a couple of laps. And whether he'd made mistakes or I just really put the foot down and went quick, I don't know. But from there, sort of built an 8-second race lead at the end of the race and won. And that felt amazing. That was the 3rd race I've ever won in officials. 4th race ever won overall because of the one vets race that I did win. So that was really good. And all of a sudden I felt confident again, and went into vets on the Thursday night with a bit more confidence, but not having the times. Like I was definitely off it, but then all of a sudden, an hour and a half practice, and half hour into it, I'm in about 8th, 17th, not feeling the greatest, and all of a sudden, once again, everything clicked. And all of a sudden, Leon was in there in chat with me, and I'm like, have a look at the board. And he goes, oh, yeah, you're 10th or 12th. That's not too bad. And I said, no, wait for it now. And I was second and a half or almost 2 seconds up on my best at that stage and went right to the top of the leaderboard. And I think someone ended up getting me, or maybe two people got me by the end of the practice session. But I really didn't put any more practice into it by then, and was just mucking around for the next hour and lost all that pace that I had and didn't qualify very well. Qualified 12th and then raced and got stuck behind a few cars. Couldn't overtake for the life of me. Phillip Island's bad for overtaking, but it's just never clicked the overtaking. I never felt confident enough to dive on anyone. But I was definitely getting held up. So I just thought, oh, yeah, we'll pit early, we'll undercut. I'll do what I did in the official. It'll be fine. Came out and got stuck behind someone again, and then watched all the time go out the window. Even jumped Rob Baxter in the pits by taking a little bit less fuel. Got out in front of him and then quickly let him pass because I made a mistake because I was watching backwards, not forwards. And yeah, all of a sudden we just both got stuck behind, I think it's Darren Walden, and couldn't go anywhere, and then watched everyone else pit and come out 2 or 3 seconds down the road. And I'm like, oh, it goes everything. So we battled on, we got past, and I think I ended up 7th in that race. Nothing to write home about again, but a 7th in a field of 44 or something or other is what I'm realizing is something to write home about, and it is a very, very good start to the season. Knowing Bathurst was coming up, the one race I've won at in vets, and knowing that this is a place where I am quick when I want to be, and I had plenty of time to practice. I got straight into practicing and then ran out of time and never really jumped back in the rig again. So knew I was fast-ish, but did a sort of half hour before in the afternoon on the Thursday and felt fast and got my optimal right down there and got my actual lap time right down to where I wanted to, which was a 2:08.2, I think it was, which I knew was quick for my split, and then ran into the practice server and quickly went to top 4, top 5 in practice and sort of sat around there. I think ended up 3rd or 4th by the end of practice, and knew we were on. And I'll say it now, I will win a race at least this season in vets. I will maybe win more than one race this season in vets. It's just going to take time, take me getting time to practice, because I'm feeling way different in the rig now than I ever have before, and I don't know why, except for the fact that I think my head is in a better place than it's ever been before. But I'm feeling confident, and split 4 used to be where I wanted to be because I knew I would be competitive there. Split 4 is now where I want to get up to the higher splits. So the focus this year is to qualify for split 3 next season, and that's what the push will be. It'll be hard because I've got 2 races that I just cannot make. So all of a sudden, I can't miss a round. I can't have a bad round at all. So it's about finishing top 4, top 5, top 6s every race, and just locking in that promotional spot at the end of the season. So that's where I'm at. Something I've never really verbally said before. I've always enjoyed being the underdog no one's talking about, and the person who, I'll win a race, but there'll be an asterisk next to it because this and this happened, or I'll get a podium, but it's because this and this happened. No, I'm going to be battling this season for wins outright. So that's brought us into Bathurst and qualified, and then I stuffed up both laps of the qualifying, so got 6th in the end, which is still great in a 40 car field, but knowing that this race was way more about strategy than pace, and it was way more about surviving to the end than pace. And went into turn 1, and there was the incident up front, which somehow I avoided and come out the other side in 3rd. And the 3 of us then lapped around for a fair while. I had someone on my tail for a little bit, I mean, Peter Kelly at that stage, battling with me, but couldn't quite get past me. But we then sort of built a gap from him. And then we got the first safety car at lap 7 or 8, I think it was. No, lap 9, because we'd done all the maths beforehand. I showed Jeremy and Leon the numbers, and 11 was the first pit stop earliest you could do to get home in 2 stops. And then it was 30 was get home point. But you could fudge it to either side of that, depending on safety cars. And we knew Forward had safety cars. So when 9 came and we had the first safety car, I was confident we could pit and still get home with one more stop. It would be tight, but it would be doable. So I dived in, and to my shock, 2 cars out front stayed out front. All of a sudden, I think I might have been 5th at this stage. So the 2 out front. So all of a sudden I'm 3rd on track. But then I jump Stevie Williams in the pit lane. So I come out 2nd of the cars who have pitted. And that was a big hit for me, because I knew those 2 out front, they're out of the race now. There's no way that they could have got back if we were just doing one more stop. There's no way they could get back. That's the end of the story. Lesson is pit under safety car 100% of the time. So then we battled on. Marty Hughes was in front of me. He was the leading car that had stopped, and he was trying to get past the ones that hadn't stopped. I think there was 3 of them out front, actually. And coming into the chase, we were quicker than them, and he just mishandled it because there was 2 cars. They were sort of battling as well, and he sort of ended up right at the chase. And I don't know whether he got a little bit of a lock-up, which put him a little bit deep, and he went off a little bit onto the grass. But either way, it opened up for me to come through down the inside of him. As within 2 seconds of me getting past him, there's a safety car boards and flags call, and all of a sudden we've got to stay in position. So I'm now the lead car that's pitted. And to my shock, once again, these 2 cars in front did not pit, so I didn't get the bonus point for leading the race. It was frustrating as hell. But anyway, they didn't pit yet again. They went for a green flag pit for some reason. And but in that point, I made a error. My starts are terrible at the moment. I just don't have the confidence in that part of my racing. But Marty got past me, which then I think it was Marty. But no, it might not have even been him. By that stage, he might have had a failure and dropped out. And it was, I think it might have been Sean Slater who got past me at this stage before these guys had pitted. And I just made a mistake watching in the rear view mirror. I had a bad start, and just he got past and Steve Williams got past, but I wasn't too worried about that because I was fuel saving anyway, and tyre saving was the main thing. And so then I was happy to just hit behind them and save fuel because I'd get them in the last stop anyway. That was the main thing I was trying to do. So yeah, that was playing into my hand pretty well. I was sitting behind them. I was making a couple mistakes here and there, but we were leaving the rest behind. There was 3 of them that just were, the 3 of us were just leaving the rest of them behind. So podium was pretty much guaranteed. And then we got to lap 27, the 3rd safety car of the race, and yeah, I pitted, and it was a 50-50 call, but you had to do it. Like I said, 30 was the get home mark because it was 19 laps to a tank. 27 meant you were 28 really by the time we crossed the start finish line, 3 laps short probably. But it was a gamble because we could save on the safety car, and if we had one more safety car, we'd be fine. So pitted, and Sean did the same, Steve did the same. They both made the same call. I jumped Steve because I'd been saving fuel. His stop was a little bit longer than mine, so I got out once again 2nd of the cars who had pitted. So here we go. We're right in this. It wasn't at this point that I'd realised I'd made a grave error. It was later, but we'll get to that in a moment. So I'm lapping around once again, it was a case of I was looking in the rear vision mirror and I just made a couple errors, which let Steve get past me again. Um, from there, I wasn't too bad. I was sitting with them. And then it was about, I'm still managing my fuel at this stage. So I'm not pushing as hard. So I don't mind them being in front at this stage. If I had kept tyres, I would have been great, right? We're still 3 laps short of fuel, two to 3 laps short of fuel. So at this stage, there's a problem. So at this stage, I'm like, okay, so I've got to get ready for a splash. Tick tyres. I didn't tick tyres last time I went into the stop. Is the first thing that went through my head. I'm still sitting on the tyres I put on in lap 9. Oh no. And it's at this point that I realised if we don't flash for fuel, if I don't stop, I'm going to do 40 laps on this one set of tyres, which is about 240 something kilometres on the one set of tyres in a supercar, which should never be done. This is my challenge now for the rest of the race. So it quickly becomes apparent that I'm either going to blow a tyre by the end of the race or I'm just going to have no grip by the end. So I need to sort of hang with these guys and just save fuels, really save tyre wear as much as I can. No locking up, no really pushing wide and pushing hard at the corners. I just need to get this car. And I'm sticking with them still. Like they've got about 2 seconds on me. We then get the safety car, which means I'm clutching. I'm doing everything I can. We get 2 laps of it. So it's, I would have wanted, I needed that 3rd lap to really save enough, but we were borderline still. So we get the start. I don't have the grip to go with them. So they get away. I'll make a few mistakes. But to my luck at this stage, we've got Dave Baldock behind me. And we're quicker than him. So I don't need to look in the rear vision mirror. I can watch forward. And no disrespect to Dave, he's doing a great job, but we opened up a 2-3 second lap gap on them and just sort of kept on pushing on, which was, I think they were battling. So worked out really well. And we had 9 laps to go. I'm doing the maths in my head and I'm like, it was real tight. And I don't know about these tyres. I'm starting to not have grip going around a few corners. I'm starting to definitely have understeer coming around a few of the corners, the important corners. So making a handful of mistakes. And then I noticed Peter Kelly's got past Dave. And he's about 4.5, 5 seconds back on us, which at 9 laps to go, I'm like, I can lose half a second a lap and I'm good. And then I started losing half a second a lap because for a few laps there, I'm keeping up with Steve and I'm keeping up with Sean. They're about 4 to 5 seconds down the road because I've made a few errors. Peter's about 4 or 5 seconds behind, so I'm in a nice little spot. And I'm lapping really good for tyres that are like 30 something laps old. And then I hit a wall and physically hit a wall a couple of times, but nothing to damage the car. But just coming around McPhillamy and getting my first 1X of the race with about 5 to go because the car just wouldn't turn left anymore. It's just, I've got no grip. I'm just sliding right. Went off, went wide, lost half a second, and then started losing half a second every other lap. And just errors like that going wide at the cutting because it turned in. Not getting good runs out of Hells or Murrays because it just wouldn't turn in. And knowing that I've got a real problem now because it's down to about 2 seconds with about 4 laps to go. And I'm also then going, hold on, 2 laps to go. I've only got 8 litres of fuel here. I need to, I'm not going to have enough fuel. I'm going to be about half a litre short. And it's all coming together. I'm no longer getting first or second. I'm now 100% fighting for a podium because Peter's really right on my tail with 2 laps to go. He was there. I made a few errors. He couldn't make the pass. But then I think coming out of the chase, I went wide and got a wobble off the ripple strip. And that was able to, he was actually able to overtake me around the outside of Murray's. So that shows you how little grip I had left. Going into the final lap and looking up and seeing 4 litres on the tank, and I knew I was burning 4.7 to 4.8, so I'm now literally half a litre short. So at this stage, I'm looking behind. Okay, Dave's 12 seconds. I can save fuel. That's fine. I can just nurse this thing around the corners, not knowing if I'm going to get a blown tire at any stage, because I suspect there's not much rubber left on the tires. But we get up around the hill, come down. I'm clutching down Conrod to the point where I'm only going about 200 k's an hour going down Conrod. But I'm confident I've got enough to get home now, so we're good. But I'm not confident I've got enough grip to do it. But I think we finished about 3 or 4 seconds ahead of Dave, and couldn't get around Hell Corner without putting. So we nailed it on a 300k race to get across the line and have no fuel left. So, but finished 4th, 100% the race that got away. Sean did a great job. Steve did a great job, but considering I was 40 laps behind on tyres, and they would have been about 20 laps, and I was holding up to them if I had fresh rubber. I was confident that at the end of the stint I had more tyres, and I had better use of the tyres than what others would, and I just never got to show that. But 38% was what it had on the front right, which is why I couldn't turn left, because it just went, nah, not doing it anymore. So that's how long I can stretch tyres for. So luckily I got home. It wasn't, 4th in a 300k race around Bathurst is a immense effort, but it was definitely the one that got away. It's what I talk to my staff about. I grew up as a tennis player, funny enough, and unforced errors was a big thing. I did the local regional circuits as a bit of a thing, but I was never ever any better than that. So I was probably the worst on the local regional circuits. But unforced errors was the thing we're talking about at work as well at the moment, because when you got heaps of people that just don't turn up to work, or we don't manage the people that we know are off, or we do things like that. It's all little unforced errors that really I talk about that ruin our days and stuff like that. So we need to get them out of our system. And forced errors are fine; you can deal with them all the time. But unforced errors hurt so much more, and this was 100% an unforced error. And it hurt, but I got there, and I'm now seeing the positive side of things rather than the negative side of things, which is usually I would be seeing that, but I don't know what's changed, but something has. Just as simple as that, the outlook on everything has changed. So now I'm seeing the positive side of things, and understanding that there's a lot more positive coming out of the stuff I'm doing than the negative. So it's been really good. And talking about, I'm not saying I'm a great, which I'm definitely not, but I've listened to a few podcasts over the time, and they talk about unforced errors and tennis players as the people who enjoy the stuff, and they have an unforced error, they make a mistake, they lose a point in tennis as it would be, but they're just that pumped and excited about things that they just move on and get on the next one. Let's go again. Where the people who aren't the top 1% sit there and dwell on pretty much every other mere mortal dwells on the mistake that happened, and they let that guide the next. However, so they're living in the past and not and basically letting the now be affected by what's happened in the past. And that's what I've done for a long time in my life. So to now be able to mentally go, okay, that happened in the past. I can't race this week at because I'm at Bathurst, but the next one I'm really keen and psyched to get in and do some practice for, and bounce back and prove that the words I said before, that I'm a challenger this season, that we can make that happen. And yeah, that's where I'm at. Where before I'd be still probably 24 hours after the race batting myself over the head for making such a stupid mistake that really did cost me something, but not there now. So I hope that is a good sign, and I hope it continues. So, but anyway, I've waffled on for way too long. My dogs are probably going to start barking again, which means I'm going to have to edit that part out. But like I said, Bathurst 1000 this week. and we leave on Tuesday night. We're going to drive through the night, try and get into Bathurst for the street party, and then stay in town that night. And then the next day we go to the track, spend the day at the track. We're on Murray's Corner in the grandstand, which will be really cool. That's where we were 11 years ago when we went. And then Peter Baxter's we're gonna meet him and Scotty Rankin and a couple others. And we're gonna meet and go camp with them off the track. And yeah, it's gonna be a great weekend. So really, really looking forward to it. It's the first Bathurst in a long time that I can honestly say anyone can win it. So being a DJR fan and having Brody just come off a win at the Bend is even more confident for me. But anyway, I won't get that confident right now. So look, really enjoying it. Really enjoying the racing again. Really enjoying content creation. Like I said, the Locked On Lad stuff is coming back. And thank you for everyone who puts up with me going and disappearing and coming back and going and disappearing and coming back. I think work should be in a far better place now. Like I said, we've got one. Our main driver that does the most parcels is off holidays at the moment. So we're taking 1.5 people to sort of cover him at the moment. So when he's back, we should be way freer and be able to do way more stuff. And like I said, editing streams, bringing them into the YouTube proper, doing shorts and stuff like that. That's what I want to start getting properly into. Those mental health, inspirational pictures, and getting better at taking pictures as well. So anyway, that's it from me. I may record some stuff. I'm taking my phone and my laptop, and I'm taking a lapel mic with me to Bathurst. So I may record some stuff, especially I'll be in the presence of Scotty Rankin, and we'll probably talk for more times than the cars will go around the mountain. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But we might get some stuff out of Bathurst itself. Might do some streams. We'll see. This kind of stuff that I enjoy. So we'll see how we go. But look, thank you for, like I said, putting up with me and putting up with me not being here for so long. And thank you to everyone who sort of sent their best wishes and checked in on me when they could. And sort of, things were pretty bad for a while there. So I'm glad to not be in that place anymore. And yeah, we'll talk to you at some stage and hopefully see a few of you online. If you can get onto one of the streams, have a chat with me. That's what I enjoy the most. But till then, keep enjoying the racing, guys, and catch you next time.